Welcome to SportsBeat KC, the Kansas City Star's daily sports podcast. It's Wednesday, August 26th, and I'm Blair Kerkhoff. On Tuesday, fans were allowed into a professional sports event in Kansas City for the first time since the COVID-19 pandemic shut things down in March. Sporting KC opened its gates to about 2,300 fans, and Star columnist Sam Mellinger and beat writer Shaun Goodwin were there to record the scene and the feeling of covering a live event. We'll talk to both of them. Now, if only the result had been better. Sporting KC dropped an ugly 5-2 outcome to the Houston Dynamo. After a break, you'll hear post-match comments from Peter Vermes and midfielder Roger Espinoza on the game and having fans in the stands. So let's get started with Sam Mellinger and Shaun Goodwin. Okay, Sam and Shaun, you guys had the privilege of attending the first sporting event professional sporting event in Kansas City, where fans were allowed to attend. And I just wanted to get both of your guys' impressions about this. We'll talk about the game a little later, but I want to talk about just kind of from the moment you arrived and through the game, what you saw, what you heard, what you felt. And Sam, start with you. I enjoyed your column, but just kind of take us through your experience of heading out to a live sporting event.
I have to admit, when I went there, it was not really out of obligation, but it felt like a thing that, sports columnists and local papers should go to. And my expectations were pretty low. I thought it would be sort of, a practice atmosphere with, 2,300 or whatever it was fans. And I just thought it would be really weird. And it was amazing, honestly. I mean, it was, I didn't realize how much I had missed hearing a crowd and a real crowd, like with actual humans and not like piped in music from, MLB The Show or whatever, the baseball teams were using. The first time that it happened, it was a little bit before, I think it was like around player introductions. And it's just like, honestly, I mean, it sounds weird to say out loud, but like I got goosebumps, like my skin, like, tingled, and I got this feeling that I didn't know how much I missed. Just those sounds and seeing people have fun. It was awesome. It was absolutely terrific. I'm so glad that I was able to go.
Okay. Hey, Shaun, before you answer the same question, let me just take a little inventory here. These are the live sporting events that fans in Kansas City would have missed. And this is just a partial list. I didn't even write them down. I was thinking about them, Sam, as you were talking, but just starting in March with the conclusion of the Big 12 tournament through the NCAA tournament. And, of course, KU would have gone into that event as the overall number one seed, so a favorite to get to the Final Four, which would have been played in Atlanta in front of, 75, 80,000 people, through spring training, through opening day of baseball, and then Royals home games, the soundtrack of our summers. Spring football at Mizzou, K-State, KU, sporting Kansas City games after March 7th when they played their last home game. So in front of a full house at Children's Mercy Park, through training camp of the Chiefs, they would have had record attendance at St. Joe and Missouri Western this year. Probably 4,000 to 5,000 people a day coming up to see the Super Bowl champion. So people ask me all the time, what are you doing now that there weren't any live sports for that stretch? And I said, look, there was always plenty to write about and talk about, but what I missed most was just being with other people at games and hearing them and feeling the energy. And you guys got to experience some of that in a small way on Tuesday night. So, Shaun, take us through your experience going through the game at Children's Mercy.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much I can disagree with Sam about. I mean, I was there pretty early to talk to fans anyway, and I saw Tim Melia, who was the first starter out on the field, and just the applause he got. As Sam says, it just, gave me goosebumps and some butterflies in my stomach. It's been a while since I got those, but, even once the stadium was quote-unquote full with all 2,300 fans, and national anthem was happening and all the pre-game ceremonies. I teared up a little bit. I hope Sam didn't see that while I was sitting next to him. But now, I was talking to fans outside the stadium and they were stoked. I think the most interesting thing I heard from it was a husband and wife actually was they said they were going to show up to the game If they felt safe, they would stay, and if they felt it was unsafe, they would just up and leave. Which interesting tactic, but I imagine a lot of people were the same way. But once they got there, they said they felt safe with all the precautions that SKC had in place, and it was an overall enjoyable experience for them and for us up in the press box as well.
Well, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention NASCAR as well. We missed out on fans attending a NASCAR, even if it was postponed, and with the hopes of actually getting fans at Kansas Speedway. And of course, that didn't happen. But maybe the October 18th race that's returning to Kansas Speedway will have fans. Let me ask both of you. This was an issue, of course, with fans in the stands at a Chiefs practice last Saturday. Some were not wearing masks. I'm wondering if you guys observed any, what were your observations about people practicing, distancing and mask wearing, and what did you see there?
I thought it was pretty good. Nothing's going to be 100%. You can't get any group of humans to do, something 100%. I know there were some people with masks, below the nose, and that can be a particular concern with people are yelling and screaming, especially the soccer game, right? You got the songs all the way through and all that. But it looked to me that it was what you could have hoped for, at least realistically to me. The concourses look, distance. I mean, there was a lot of sanitation. I mean, it was that part of it. Again, obviously me and Shaun were not in the cauldron or any of the bleachers, but it seemed like they were doing a pretty good job, as well as could be expected.
Is that what you saw, Shaun?
Yeah, I mean, my eyesight isn't the best to see the bleachers from where we are, but just from walking about the concourse and before the game, I heard that in the parking lot, there was spacing, there was a space between every car, but I heard that some people weren't wearing the masks until they got a bit closer to the stadium. But obviously it's outdoor and people are a bit more spread out. But when I was outside the stadium, by the time people were arriving at the gates, pretty much everyone had a mask on. If they didn't, they were turned around. And once they were in the stadium, I didn't really see too much of people walking about with no protection on the face. So yeah, I can't complain as a whole.
Well, in a perfect world, Sporting Kansas City would have come out and in front of their home fans, as small a group as it was, 2,300, and would have performed superbly. In fact, would have performed in the way they did the last time they played at home, which was also against the Houston Dynamo, and that was on March 7th. And Sporting Kansas City won that game 4-0. This game turned out, also a goal fest. It was 5-2. But the wrong side won this game. And Shaun, we need to talk about that. What in the world happened? Obviously, Sporting Kansas City not terribly inspired by having fans through the turnstiles last night. This thing got away from them. It looked like in the second half, but they were down. Sporting was down 2-1 at halftime.
Yeah, down 2 at halftime, but they were still in the game, and offensively, they looked as good as they have done the last couple of weeks. I mean, they still scored 2 goals at the end of the day, but defensively was the big issue. Not only did they look sloppy and a little bit slow, especially in the second half. I think one of the big issues we've got right now is, apart from Zusi at right back, the defence is a revolving door of players. There's no centre-back consistency, whether it's Beasler, Rees, Punchek, Smith, because there's no real consistency there. At left back, you're now playing Jalen Lindsay, who's typically a right back. He got absolutely smoked all of last night. I mean, offensively they look fine, but just fangs or not, the defence just doesn't seem put together and coordinated, to be honest. And that was a big issue with last night's game.
And I saw where Busia was made available to the media after the game. We won't hear from him. We'll hear from Roger Espinoza and Peter Vermes after a break. But what about Busia? Where is his game right now?
He has pleasantly surprised playing in that 6 role. I mean, he's never played there for Sporting before this past week. Never really played there for SKC2 either. But right now, Ilya is out with family issues, and pieces obviously lands on Buzio to play in that defensive midfield role. And he's still got room to improve in his play, not losing the ball so much, but just his vision, his ability to find the pass. He's got the skill set to working that role, and game by game, we're seeing his physicality and aggression improve as well. So whether that's a long-term move or until Ilya gets back, I don't know. But these performances are certainly not going to dissuade any sort of interest he's got from Europe, I can tell you that.
All right, look, Sam Mellinger, Shaun Goodwin, great to speak with you. Happy that you guys got to get out and see the game last night and to experience with the fans. And we're going to take a break. When we come back, Peter Vermes and Roger Espinoza from the post game of Sporting Kansas City's 5-2 loss to the Houston Dynamo. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Blair.
Thank you.
Hey, it's Blair. We have a special subscription offer for SportsBeat KC listeners: unlimited digital access to the Kansas City Star's award-winning sports coverage. Sign up now for 1 year of Sports Pass for access to all the sports news, features, and columns presented on the kansascity.com site, and it's only $30. That's a 40% savings off our regular rate. Your subscription will automatically renew after the initial term at $50 unless you tell us to cancel. Your subscription helps support the sports coverage of kansascity.com and the Kansas City Star, and that support has never been more important. Please visit kansascity.com/SportsBeatKC offer to get this special offer. And as always, thanks for listening.
Hello, Peter. A tough night, it seems. Gianluca Busio played in a deeper role, and I don't think there's any concerns about his passing, but defensively he still seems a bit raw. In terms of evolving that aspect of his game, is it something you'll look to do with individual training, or do you think that'll just come with experience?
Yeah, look, I think it's very hard to critique one player in tonight's match. This is one of those times where you just say it's a bad day. Happens sometimes. For the first 30 minutes, I thought we were good. We were in the game, and we were creating some great stuff, and we were on them. What I think transpired is that after 30 minutes, we started chasing shadows a little bit as a team. And so I think that was the big thing. In regards to Boos, I mean, look, he's growing every day. Every day he's getting better and better. It's not one thing you work on. It's, you're working on all aspects of the game, and defending is one of them. But, he's growing and he's always getting better. But I wouldn't use today's match to try to evaluate that aspect of his game.
Next question, we'll go to Seren Petra with Sports Radio 810 WHB. Seren, your line is open.
Peter, the runouts that we've seen here, we saw them again tonight. That's been a problem a number of different times for you guys. Is there a consistent theme or something that you point to that's been the problem?
What do you mean the runouts? I'm sorry, what do you mean?
Well, the kind of breakaways. I mean, it seems like you guys are putting a lot forward offensively, and you're getting beat on a counterattack pretty quick and leaving Tim Melia one-on-one with a guy with the ball. I mean, that's happened a number of times here over the last few games.
Tonight it happened. Tonight it for sure happened, but I wouldn't say that it's an ongoing issue by any means. Not at all. I wouldn't say that. I think that as a team, I think we've dealt with those situations pretty well. Is there sometimes, a team does well on a counter? Sure. But if you're talking about the Philly game, you're talking about those are set pieces. That was a totally different situation than what this run of play was tonight. Look, they were also good in those moments, and they stuck it home and they got out after the ball. So we didn't have a good day. They had a really good day, and it's one of those nights.
And I don't mean to take anything away from Houston and say that they didn't come out and execute, right? That there wasn't another team out there. I understand that there's always someone out there. Was there a problem marking guys? Did guys get lost? Is there something that Houston did specifically in this?
No, we were just. I mean, I'm telling you, after the first 30 minutes, we were just late to everything, and we got stretched out. And all of a sudden, you start having guys that are late or hesitant within the game. Then all of a sudden, they find the seams and they start building through us, and that's what they did. I mean, they were cutting through us and building through us at will, especially. Late in the game, second half, It just we were too man oriented at times. We were late at situations. It's what happens. Sometimes it happens. I've been in a few of those games myself, and it feels like, you go left, they go right. You go right, they go left. You go forward, they go backward. I mean, you're chasing shadows, and I think we were doing that for a good majority of the game after that 30 minutes.
Next question will go to Sam Mellinger with the Kansas City Star. Sam, your line is open.
Hey, Peter. I respect that your job is to worry about the results and the strategy and everything. But just curious your impressions of the first game having fans and what that felt like, what that sounded like to you on the field, if you noticed it.
Listen, having somebody in the stadium is definitely a help. It really is. It gives something of an ambiance in the stadium. I really do, and I appreciate the fact that those people came tonight. I apologize for the fact that we didn't get the result, but it wasn't. I don't think tonight was for a lack of effort. I just think that we fell short. We had a bad day, and we'll be back in situations like this. You got to respond, and I believe our guys will. But I think it was good to have people in the stadium. It was much appreciated.
Next question will go to Shaun Goodwin with the Kansas City Star. Shaun, your line is open.
Hey, Peter, I know you said, I understand you said this result isn't pinned on any single player, of course. Houston did seem to target Jalen's side a lot of that game. I mean, he has a pretty tough game out there, right?
Look, I think that Elise is a tough mark for anybody in this league. He's an important player for them. I think that when you look at the third goal, he gets a little man-oriented in that situation and maybe overcommits a little bit. But look, there are some learning curves that go with opportunities, and that's the way it goes sometimes. I have a lot of faith in him. I think he has a lot of room to grow, and this is one of those experiences for him tonight.
Final question will go to Greg Eklund with KCUR. Greg, your line is open.
Hello, Peter. Sorry I have to ask this question to you under these post-game circumstances, but your players in warm-ups today were wearing the Black Lives Matter T-shirts, and then they were kneeling at the national anthem, and yet this week we learned the news of another shooting, another black man who was victimized by a police officer. Can you share your reaction on that?
On the fact that our guys knelt, or which piece? I mean, obviously, anytime somebody gets killed, it's not a good thing in this country. That's for sure. I can't tell you that I know the extent of what happened with that situation, so it's very difficult for me to comment on it. But other than the fact that when someone dies, that's not a good thing. If that's what you're asking me, of course, I don't want to see that happen. All the guys have their own decisions to make on what they want to do and how they want to respond. Me personally, I am against racism, so I don't know what the question is, but other than that, that's what I have to say.
We were ready. We're ready to come back home and play. We did not know at the beginning. We didn't find out until a few weeks ago that we were going to have fans. And we're thankful for all that. Our fans have always been supporting throughout the game. Even when we were down 5-2, I could hear the fans. Everybody stayed throughout the whole game. That shows a lot what our fans are all about. So, I'm very thankful for what the fans did for us. I'm humble about the whole thing. And, our fans have always been there for us. Unfortunately, the game didn't go well tonight. But we're going to pay that back to them because they're always there supporting us, and I'm very happy that they were there for us, and we need to move forward and play for them next time.
That'll do it for today. Thanks to our production staff of Derek Donovan, Randy Mason, Beth Welsh, Jeff Rosen, Chris Fickett, and Savannah Smith. Tip of the cap to Sam Mellinger and to Shaun Goodwin for coming by and talking about Sporting Kansas City and the first home game with fans in Kansas City since March. Links to their stories can be found in the show notes and on kansascity.com. Hey, earlier in the episode, you heard me talk about the Sports Pass offer. It still stands, and it's still a good one. $30 for a year's worth of sports coverage, and that includes Sports Extra that comes with the e-edition. There's 50 additional pages of national sports coverage today. Here's an even better offer. Buy the entire Kansas City Star product. Sports news, features, commentary, and analysis, the whole thing. You get all the stories written by my talented colleagues, plus additional news, sports, and business coverage with the e-edition. Details can be found at account.kansascity.com/subscribe. That's account.kansascity.com/subscribe. And whether it's the Sports Pass or the full subscription, you're getting and supporting the best sports and news coverage in Kansas City and helping us produce programs like SportsBeat KC. Thanks for listening, and we'll be back on Thursday with another episode.